Good evening. We will be starting the session now. Welcome all of you. Today's session is on market profile, and mainly we will touch on the options part because all of us mainly trade in options. So how we can use the information of market profile chart from the futures along with it even in the options. So let us dive straight into it. Market profile charts. I think all of you are familiar now because this is our third session which we are having. The first two sessions covered about how a market profile chart is constructed, where we had spoken about TPOs, time price opportunities, and 30-minute time frame charts, which the market profile is based on. So uh, I will not touch base upon that, and I'll straight away dive into the market profile chart of Nifty futures, which is on screen right now. So before we start, I'll go just give a brief about what has happened in Nifty futures in the last 1 week, which is from 16th of November till today. And then I will go on to the options table, which we have on the VTrender chart section, which gives you a wealth of information and how you can use that information and what all we can get out of the option table. So right now you can see my cursor is on the 16th November profile. We have an elongated profile. This is the biggest range of the month so far. It was, I think, a 238 point range in Nifty futures. And I'll just split this profile. I'll increase the TPS size for this only for so that we are able to view it in a better way. So ideally, the TPO size for a Nifty future chart is supposed to be 2. So that is the ideal size, TPO size for the Nifty future chart. Yeah. So you can see this 16th November profile, which started off with an A period buying tail. We have a very important aspect. When you get such a long A period buying tail, it means that you have initiative players who have entered the market at open. So when you have this initial balance, which is a pretty large range relative to other days which we had this month, and we have such a long buying tail, a zone of singles, you have only A period over here and nothing else. So this tells you that you have initiative players who have entered the market, and we can see more confirmation of this in the range extension the market has made. We made higher highs on almost all the TPOs till the L period. We did have this small dip in the I period where we made a pullback low, which is a typical trend day setup. We always look for that pullback at VWAP on a trend day, and we where we get a good opportunity to re-enter the trend, and it gives us a very good rewarding move into the close. But this 10-day was different from an ideal trend day. The reason being, as we made this high of 19936 on 16th, we did not extend that into the MTPO. In fact, the L period itself broke below the K period. So this was something which was a uh, against the nature of the auction of that day. So this was telling us that the whatever the initiative buyers had entered had booked profit, and we had formed this HV, and I have also opened up the volume profile of that day. So we can see the high volume node at this level, which is 19895. So from that level, we could see that there was profit booking happening by the buyers, and then the market liquidated. So the late longs or the laggard longs got um, squeezed out of this market because it gave a very deep cut. We almost went on to make a low of 19791, I think, the pullback low in L period, and the extension handle of that day was at 19785. So although this was a trend day, but it was not an ideal close. Trend day generally closes at the highs, and after the trend day, then we form a balance. So what happened here was this trend day had an equal amount of equal fight because it closed right in the middle. So it meant that the sellers had come at the highs of the trend day. So this is what has happened after this day. Why I showed you this profile is after this day, we have been inside this range even till today. So what happened the next day? I'll just close this volume profile of the trend day. The next day we made a balance. We filled up the trend day value area zone, and we checked out these extension handles which were there on the trend day. The 785 got broken, and we tested this A period buying tail. We made a low right there. This was 19750. We'll come back to that, how 19750 continued to be an important reference even now as we close this week today. So we formed a P-shaped profile on this day. It was a normal day which filled up the value of previous profile, the low volume zone of previous profile. So it is in market profile, we always know that an imbalance is followed by a balance and vice versa. So after a trend day, we are ready for a balance to start forming. And because here we knew that we have a selling tail at top and a buying tail at lows, auction would want to test both sides to see which of the party is giving away, so that we get a move. The next move comes in that direction. So what it did, we made a dip. We tested this A period buying tail. On 20th, we left even an FA here. The 19813 FA was even spoken about on Twitter by Shai. We had it on in our reports also. So when we closed this J on 20th November, it was looking as if the market is going to continue the downwards journey because of this FA. But what happened the next day is we opened with a gap up and we remained above this FA point of 19813. And we went on to test this HVN. I'm sorry, I'll just open up the. So that is why it is important to make a note of these references. So 19895 was that HVN from the trend day where this G period got stalled on 21st of November. We again made a 313 profile, small tails at both ends and the nice balance. So it tested the upper end, but it did not get fresh demand. So what the auction will do, it will again probe lower to find demand. So on 22nd, you can see it opened inside this value. Again, it got stalled at this G period responsive selling tail, and it made a probe lower. It made a very swift probe lower, wherein it broke these buying singles and it went into the value of this neutral day of 20th November. And it tagged this VWAP but stopped just short of the VPOC, which was at 19750. As I said, this 19750 continues to be an important reference because it was the buying tail of the trend day, and then it took support the next day at the same level, and then it formed this POC, which is now a virgin POC. It has not been revisited after it formed a POC here on 20th. So this remains our lower side reference 19750. So after this was a neutral extreme day because this downside, just like how we left a responsive selling tail in the G period on 21st, opposite happened on the 22nd. We left a responsive buying tail on in exactly the same G period, after which we went on to make new highs for the day. But again, we could not clear this 19895 zone. So this was a neutral extreme profile. This was a neutral center profile. So neutral days only give you that confirmation that both buyers and sellers are active in this zone, which we knew also from this 10-day profile. So it continued to be a fight because none of them were letting go of their zones. So again on 23rd, we opened higher, we opened above this HVN, but we could not clear the responsive selling tail from the trend day. So just like how we tested the buying tail and could not take out, we could not find that much supply which could break below this. Same thing happened here. It could not get that much demand which could take above this reference. So we made a B-shaped profile yesterday, and today again we made another profile with overlapping value. So what we did yesterday was, when you have overlapping value on days, you can form a composite because that is telling you the auction is in a balance. So what we did yesterday at the close of market is we formed a balance of the 3 days, which is 21st to 23rd. And why the 3 days? Because we had left this VPOC lower on 20th, which was not tagged. So that was a important support zone. After this support zone, we have formed this value. And today, as you can see, I'll just increase the TPO size now, because as you can see, we opened exactly at the upper end of the value. And again, we did not find any demand. So what did the value, what did the auction do? It did the 80, what we call the 80% rule. 80% rule happens when you have a nice balance which is formed, and we enter that balance either from the up or the downside. So what the 80% rule says is, whenever the auction enters a well balanced value area, there is a 80% chance of the auction to swipe through the entire value to go to the other end of the value. So here, when we could not get any demand at the value area high, it was but natural for the auction to probe lower, and it not only tagged the value area low but broke below it, making a low of 19,800 today. And today, this entire thing happened, the entire move happened in the initial balance, the first hour, A and B period. So this was the initial balance. And in the live mentoring trading room we discussed this situation. And even after the first hour was over, we were expecting this to be a normal day and completion of this 3-day balance, because it was a relatively larger IB we had formed of 85 points today. So, and we had tails at both the ends. So what the auction did for the rest of the day was not surprising, because we were expecting the balance to get uh, even smoother today. And Shai also mentioned this right on Monday, that you can expect a slower auction this week. So this, thankfully, this week is over, and we the even the profile is giving us a picture that the balance is now over, now done. So I'll just quickly, because this value is also overlapping, we can just make a composite now. So we have a nice 4-day Gaussian curve. You can see this is a very beautiful looking Gaussian curve, and this is what market profile is all about. Bell curve, what we call this. And this is a extremely nice structure to have, because this is giving you an indication that the market is very soon going to trend, going to move away from this balance. So this is what is the picture as of close today. And where have we closed? We have closed right at the value area low of this composite. So we can see the closing price over here, and we have this value which we will use as a reference to trade for. So this is how we look for about the market profile charts of the futures. And we make out references. We have the value area high at 19883, and we have this very prominent POC at 19857. So these will be our references. Monday being a holiday, Tuesday will be the next trading day. So when we prepare ourselves for the Tuesday open, we will have these references in mind, and we will want an initiative player to come either at this value area high of 19884, or at the value area low of 19825. And we have this tail at the lows here, which would be the one support area along with this VPOC of 750. So this is about the Nifty futures. I will now shift on to the options table. So what you have on screen now is the option table, and I'll just give you a brief of what all is available in the option table and how we can use the information which we have. So as you can see, we now have 4 expiries every week, and all these 4 expiries are on different days, except for the monthly expiry when Nifty futures and Bank Nifty futures are on the last Thursday of the month. Otherwise, Monday we have Midcap Nifty, and then Tuesday we have Fin Nifty, and Wednesday is Bank Nifty, and Thursday is Nifty futures. So we have all the 4 indices at the top, both the spot as well as the futures information is there. And you have the market profile references, the POC, the value area, and you have the other references, the open high, last traded price, and you have the futures levels. So one whichever index you're trading or whichever expiry you're looking at, you can make use of the information here. And we also have this gift nifty which is being added. So for people who follow gift nifty after the market closes here in Indian time, this information is also there. So right now I am in the Nifty 30th November, the current series, current weekly settlement, which is also the last one of the month. So I have the Nifty table over here. So I'll just, yeah. So we have the gamma zero level here. We have the OI pain. We have the gamma wall range. So gamma wall range is nothing but how the big boys have positioned themselves for the current weekly settlement. So here we know the upside reference is 19900 and the downside is 19700, and the gamma zero being at 19800. So, and we have the VIX, the day 1 day VIX, we have the series VIX, we have the PCR put call ratio, and the so below this table comes the actual option data. In the option data, we have the calls on the left side, the puts on the right side, and you can see the strike price in the middle. So how this helps us, we with one click you can open whatever option chart you want. You can open an option market profile chart, you can open an option line chart, you can open a straddle chart, and you can also open a strangle chart. I'll show you how we do it one by one. For a strangle chart you will have to use a couple of more clicks, but for all other charts you can open them in a single click. So with the information we had before this morning and what we have on the table at the top, we know the 19,800 is the gamma zero level. So if we are not expecting a move away after the open, because in market profile we give a lot of importance to the open type, and today the open type was open auction in range. So although we got a big move in the initial balance, it was only uh, making a way in the in the composite value. So after the move from 18885 to 18800, 19885 to 19800, we didn't we kind of started forming a balance. So even after the initial balance formed, we were very clear, as I was mentioning, that even in the room we were discussing that there is a high chance of we us having a normal day. Normal day is a day where the range stays inside the IB. So the range was perfectly matching with the gamma wall range also. So on days like this, what will you do? You will look, because you know that market is in a balance and you are not expecting a trending move. So what do? We can open the 19,800 straddle chart. So you can see where my mouse is. It is on the symbol. ABC is there on the symbol, and if I click on this, it will open up the 19,800 straddle chart of today. So this is the market profile chart of the 19,800 call and put combined. So as you can see, I was talking about the A period singles being an important reference in market profile. So you can see how we have moved away from previous value. This was yesterday's POC of this straddle, the 19,800 CE plus PE. Yesterday's POC was at 200, and we opened below 200, and we have left this big AP rate selling tail. Yeah, this better. The screen is maximized now. So coming back to the chart I was talking about, so you can see this is a straddle chart of 19,800, and it is showing us that it is moving away from previous value. So even after the initial balance, when we are getting this bounce of the D period, when it is hit that 178, so this is a very nice spot for us to take a short straddle position, because we are expecting the balance to continue today. And after this G period, you can see every TPO is made lower lows into the close. So it is not a big range from 178, it is made a low of 150. But this was a very clear trade idea which we got because of market profile, the open type, and what information we had in the option table. So I'll just show you how we can also open the line chart, and I'll explain what are the benefits of the line chart. So right in the middle column where you have all the strike prices, it will open the straddle charts of that, both the market profile and line chart. So this line symbol is for the line chart, and now I'm opening the line chart of the same 19,800 call and put. So, and I'll just make this to intraday only, so we see only today's data. So what you see here in the line chart, this blue line is the open interest. And you can see right at the open how this open interest has been climbing. There was a huge increase in open interest all through the first hour. So we can see the number of contracts which are there is 4,52,000. And this is the price of the straddle, and the purple line is the POC, the point of control, the maximum, the level where the maximum volumes have taken place, and the green line is the VWAP. So when you are a straddle writer, you would want the premium to keep going down. Only then you will be able to make money. So here you can see the POC was right at 178 in the first 30 minutes. So that is the reason I had told that when we got that bounce in the D period to 178, that was a good place to re-enter or take this straddle. And after this, we just need to observe. I'll just pull down. Yeah. So what we have at the bottom is these OI spikes. The green OI spikes are addition of open interest. The red OI spike is open interest coming out. So here you can see this open interest spike down is because we briefly went above this VWAP. So what happens then if we are going above the VWAP, the writers get into a uh, kind of panic mode, especially the writers who are late to the party, because these writers who have written this at the open will not mind this jump, but the writers who have come in here, they will definitely press the panic button and exit. So it just made that swipe to 178, but after that, once it came back below this VWAP again, it just kept going low and lower and lower. It never again got back above the VWAP of the day. And you can see the open interest also was constant here. There was not much addition, but there was nothing which was coming out also. End of the day, the last 15 minutes, you can see big red OI spikes. That is because the straddle guys are booking out. So that is how you can see what is happening in a straddle and make use of that information. The same thing on expiry days will give you, the weekly expiry days will give you lot of uh, good opportunities, because today was a Friday, so today is the first day of the week, so there'll not be much activity as such as long gamma trade opportunities. Long gamma trades, when we are looking at this kind of option, open interest building does not give us a trade, but as soon as we get a move on the market profile or the order flow chart, we look at what this open interest is doing, and if it starts to decline the way it is done in the last, this kind of decrease happens in middle of the day on expiry days, which is maybe in the G period or the K period. After 215, especially, you can see these kind of drops. And when this drop happens, the price does not go down. The price will go up and will keep going up above the VWAP and the POC of that particular combo. So that is how we can use this straddle chart, line chart, as well as the market profile chart of straddles. So I'll quickly come back to the option table. So on the left hand side are the individual call options data. We have the maximum open interest and minimum open interest. On the left hand side, the top is the time when the maximum open interest was there in that particular strike, and the bottom was the minimum. And you also have the open interest data, and you have the DOI, which is the change of open interest for that particular day, along with the open interest, which is currently there in that option. We have the volume, we have the VPOC and VWAP, which are market profile references. We have the change, and you have again these symbols, which I showed you in the straddle in the composite in the middle column of the strike price. These market profile and line chart will open that specific strike price. For example, we want to have a look at the 19,800 call. So I click on this 19,800 call on the call side symbol, and this will open up the 19,800 call market profile chart for me. So you can see how even the call market profile chart has given me this A period selling tail. So which means that the market is not too bullish today after open. So in fact, this call, although it did not make too much of downside, and you can see here it stopped exactly at this PPOC of 90, which was there from 15th. So this is how we can make use of information of market profile references even on option charts. So if you see this, you know that this is a buying tail plus a POC which has not been revisited, just like the one I had mentioned about 19750 being a important reference in Nifty futures. So when this 90 was not breaking or not sustaining in the option, in this call option, uh, when we fell to 19,800 in the morning, it was a clear signal that the downside was getting limited. And this reference you can carry forward even for the next week. So if we start trading below the 90 level, you can expect that there is weakness which has come into the market, and it will go on to tag these lower VPOCs. So these are the option market profile charts. So these are the market profile references we derive out of this. The same thing we can even get in the PE charts, whether on the upside or on the downside. If we are moving lower, and if you are a call writer, these will be your objectives. If you are getting a move lower on Tuesday when we open. So this is how we can make use of the market profile chart of the option, and I'll also open up the line chart of the call, so we can see what is happening with the open interest. So again, I'll just shift to the intraday so that we are focused on what happened today, and we work with the latest data. So you can see this, as I had told, that both the call and put were written at the open. So you can see how the open interest in the first hour is similar to what we saw in the straddle combo. So the open interest has just risen, and same thing happened when we got that bounce after making a low of 19,800. It briefly went above the VWAP where the open interest came down, but once it again got back below VWAP in the G period, after the G period, these call writers were completely in control. Not only the open interest was climbing, but they managed to keep it below VWAP. Even this bounce when it came at 2 o'clock, you can see right from VWAP, it again got rejected. So, and this close of day open interest reduction is normal because the writers who have entered in the morning would book out. And especially now, because we've got a 3-day weekend, the people will not want to carry that much of risk. So this is how you can watch the line chart and you can decipher of what is happening. If on an expiry day, we see this open interest climbing, and then we see this kind of a move which happened at 10 o'clock, and the open interest keeps falling lower, we can keep a track of how much open interest was added and how much of pain is still left for those writers. And with that in mind, we can continue to hold or book our trades in this. So this trade, as soon as it broke below VWAP again, it was clear that whatever open interest was in pain have been uh, taken out, and now even the market is stop moving higher. So, and similar thing, I'll just open a 19,900 put market profile chart and compare it with. So here you can see when we opened today, we had left an A period buying tail, right? And we left an A period buying tail with the B period again making a big move on the upside. But what happened in market profile? We also I also mentioned in the option table we have the POC and the VWAP references of the options, and why we have them is because they are very important levels for us to keep track of. So you can see the first objective when we went up was this POC, and then this VWAP POC. Anyways, this POC was tagged yesterday, so it was not that much of an important level. But this VWAP had not been tagged. So this 132, 133 level was an important level for this put option. And in fact, we traded this put in the room, and we had a part booking option play over here. So when we track this VWAP and we did not sustain about this in the B period, it was a very clear indication that this option is kind of done the highs, because when we have a tail at the highs, then it is like it is done the work. For this to keep moving higher, it had to sustain above this VWAP level. Then we could have looked at higher levels, which was this 22nd now November is where we had that big fall in this. This was a neutral extreme profile. So that is the reason this VWAP of that day was more important. So not sustaining 133 was a clue that downside is limited. So same thing as I mentioned in 19,800 call, 90 would be the reference on the downside for the next week. Say 133 again will be an important reference in this 19,900 put. So you can make a note of this. You can in fact open this chart and keep it ready. If we are sustaining above this, then based on that day's profile, if we get an A period buying tail on Tuesday, and then we can look at higher levels. The objective being this selling tail of 177 of 22nd. And as I said, the VPOCs which are not been tagged become the objectives. So if this option continues to form higher value next week, this 205 will be our next target after this 177, which is the selling tail high. So that is how we can uh, look at option market profile chart to trade options and get levels out of it. Although we watch the futures and the signals in the futures, we also can get very precise levels in the options also. So what else information is there in the option table? So you have these orange colored volumes. So these orange volumes are telling you the maximum volume is happening in that strike price. So you can see you have the orange volumes in this 19800 call, 19850 call, and 19800 put and 19850 put. So you can see maximum. We look at what near the money. NTM is near the money. We look at NTM open strikes, because that is what will matter to the market. So and that is what will attract highest volume. So even on expiry days, when an writer is getting upside down or some open interest will have to be taken out, it will be in this near the money strikes. So we always give importance to the NTM strikes, and we see which is attracting the highest volumes and look for trading those strikes. So for example, today if we were trading for a call, we would either trade the 19800 call or one step higher, because it's a Friday. It is we can trade the 19800 call. Otherwise, we would have gone for one strike into the money, which was 19700 call, and same thing with the put. So we would have looked at the 19900 put. So the orange volumes, orange colored numbers are showing you where the highest volumes for the day are. So preferably you would want to trade these options, because volumes precede price. So we want to have good volumes at whichever instrument we are trading. So it same goes with Nifty futures. We keep a track of how the volumes are doing. We have in the charts we have the volumes of the last 5 days and last 10 days, I think, and we have comparative version of what the volumes today are. So when the volumes today are better than that average, definitely you would want to get into a trade. And at the same time, if the volumes are less than average, then you would want to uh, sit back and wait for a better opportunity. So options table, this is the data. We have the minimum, maximum open interest and minimum open interest. This again on expiry days are very important, because you can keep a track of where open interest has been rising, and if a move comes opposite direction, you can see how much of open interest is stuck. And from that time, if the open interest is stopped climbing and is it reducing, so it will help us to trade that or be ready to trade that option in the closing hour of the expiry day. So I showed you how to open a straddle chart. I'll just tell you how to open a strangle chart. So for strangle, what is the range we want to look? If you want to be a safe player, you can take this gamma range, which is 19,900 and 19,700. So if you want to open a 19,900 call and a 19,700 put, what you'll do is you have these say, buttons next to the strike prices. So you select the left side of the 19,900, which is in the call column, and you select the 19,700 tick box on the right side, which is the put. So as soon as you select this, you will get this in pop-up saying that the selected option pair is 19,700 put and 19,900 call. So we just need to click on this or click on this open chart, and it opens up the straddle chart of that particular combo. So this is the straddle chart of today of 19,900 call and 19,700 put. So we have a similar kind of a structure in this. So this is for players who want to be safer rather than getting into 19,800 call and put. If you want to have little more lesser risk, people can look at this. And same structure has happened. We have moved away from previous value. Once the A period is complete, this POC can become your stop loss if you are looking at shorting this triangle. And then once you get that range extension lower after the seaside, we all know that it's the dhoka period. So after the seaside, when we get the range extension lower, which happened in the F, we can keep trailing your stop losses to the high of the previous TPO. So that is how you can trade these straddles and strangles on days when you know the market is in a balance, which market profile tells us. So I would suggest not to go for these kind of trades in the coming week, because the balance is looking like it is completed and we can get a trending move. So all these straddle and strangle writers could be in for a scare in the coming week. So this is how we can open a straddle chart. And on the right hand side, you have this yeah, you have the synthetic future, because now we have weekly expiries and the future expires only on the last week of the month. So there is a difference between what the current spot price is, what the future price is, and what the current week option is priced at. So this will help you to keep in sync with what the synthetic future is, so you can accordingly see how the option of whichever strike price you're trading is priced. So I'll take off this straddle. Yeah. So that is about the option table, and there is lot of all the information is available in this one screen, and from this one screen you can open any of the option chart. So whichever option you want to trade, you just have to go and click on that particular line or a market profile chart, and you will get the references. You will get the VWAP and the POC of that level, and in market profile chart you can see what the targets of that can be, because we have the 2IB and the 3IB levels marked. So, and these are the SG band. The pink lines are the SG bands. You, if you take your mouse over that, you can watch them. We also have the 2IB and 1IB, 2IB and 3IB levels which are marked. So those are the levels which you would look to book your options when they are moving in your favor. And you have the volume and the open interest are all in the numbers are in contracts, which is better to keep a track instead of volumes, because now more importantly we have 4 different indices, and all these 4 indices have got different lot sizes. Fin Nifty is 40, and Bank Nifty is 15, Nifty is 50, and mid cap is I think 75. So you have different lot sizes, so you, instead of getting confused with the volumes, the number of contracts give you a better idea. So we know yesterday when we had the Nifty expiry, the 19,800 combo, the open interest went up to almost 20 lakh, more than 20 lakhs, 21 lakh contracts it hit. Both the call and the put had more 11 lakh open interest, 11 lakh open interest in each of them. So that is the kind of level, and that was big money. They were the big players who managed the expiry well, and I think we closed at 19,802. So all those guys who were writing that straddle were in profits. So that is how we can make best use of this option table. I hope I'm able to cover most of this part. In case there are any queries, I'll open up the floor for the questions now, so that we can quickly answer your queries and then wrap it up. Because it's a Friday evening, I won't want to keep all of you for long. Thanks for listening in, guys, and please let me know if you have any queries. So all of the charts which I showed you are available on charts.vtrender.com. We have different plans. You can look for what plan is suitable for you if you're not yet a member of vtrender charts. And along with the vtrender charts, we have a vmr vtrender mentoring trading room, where all of us sit together and discuss what is happening in markets and trade together. We also have a audio session at 10:15 every day, 10:15 to around 10:30, 10:45. We speak about what are the probable trades we can look for the day, what was the open type, what can we expect going forward, especially if it's a weekly expiry, what are the options we need to be looking at. So we have a lot of stuff on the chart section, as well as the mentoring room. So do feel free to check them out. Charles, I'm not sure, but you can DM me on Twitter. My Twitter ID is at Tuttam Goel, and I will check out what best we can do for you. So, any more queries, guys, regarding today's chart or any other thing related to market profile? And you can even get in touch with us at support@vtrender.com, or you can even DM me. I have given my Twitter ID, which is at Uttam Goel. So, so my so, fine, guys. Any more queries? I think I just spoke about the what we are looking at. I showed you the Nifty composite. We have formed a nice balance. And also, guys, we have these daily reports which is published on the website. These reports are there for everyone to read. We have the before the market opens, we are ready with the references and plan of what want we can look for in the day ahead, taking whatever auction has showed us before. We So you can go through that report. It will give you all the important references, and we also have these business areas which are marked, which we look at in the room. We see what order flow is doing at those references, and accordingly look to take trades. So as I said, Nifty is in a nice balance. We can expect a good move away from this balance in the coming week. So, any more queries, guys? Or I think we can wrap up this session. Fine then. I think that's it from our side for now. Thanks for joining in, guys, and taking time out on a Friday. We intend to continue these learning sessions where we can help you make most of whatever information is available on the market profile and the option suite we have at vTrender. So make sure you join in and uh, increase your knowledge on these things. We have videos on all of these gamma wall and how to use them on YouTube channel. I think we will cover that again in one of the forthcoming sessions, because we are starting from the basics of market profile. Today we covered the option table and how we can use options market profile charts. So slowly we will cover even those aspects. But for immediate use, you have a lot of videos on the YouTube itself about the gamma, which I have covered, so you can go through them. So fine then, guys. Time to sign off now. Have a nice extended weekend, and let's be ready for a good week of trade coming forward. The last week of November promises to be a very good one for long gamma traders and long option traders. So let's be in touch, and thanks for joining in. So that's it, me signing off for now. Thank you.